So for the last 6 months or so, I've sort of been toying with the idea, flirting with the idea that it might be fun to do a video series where I bring you along with us on some of our travels, on some of these video shoots, to show you what goes into getting an image. You know, an image is like an iceberg. You've got that little top piece that's sticking out of the water, the pretty piece that everybody sees, but then underneath the water, you've got this big story of the travel that it took to get there, the research, whatever. You know, most photographs aren't drive up, take a picture, and that's the end of it. Most are planned out, most are plotted on a map. The idea came from somewhere, right? So the idea behind this is just to sort of take you on that journey with us. Now I say 6 months because for 6 months I've really just been messing around with video. I'm sure that 6 months ago I saw something on YouTube that got me really excited, and I got all jazzed up about video and thought, I'm gonna do that. And I got a video camera and a mic and, you know, all the little crap that you need to do this. And I made a bunch of little videos that I sent out to my friends, and you know, just sort of tried to get my feet wet. But when it came down to actually putting together a cohesive story, going on a shoot and doing it, just wasn't making it happen. And I think a lot of that is because, you know, there's a lot of life that happens in between, and getting to a shoot, whether it's travel or just taking time out of the day, whether you're running for a sunset or packing up and going someplace, adding an extra element to that adds more time, adds more complexity. And really, if you're trying to enjoy the experience, I think you need a lot of time for that and really plan for it, and we weren't. I wasn't. And so today is all about that. Basically, what we're doing is we're driving out. What I'm doing, Katya's not with me today, I'm doing this solo, more so that I can sort of get this interaction with the camera down. You know, I'm not very good at looking people in the eyes when I talk to them. I don't know why that is, but I'm not good at that. And so even like looking into the lens of the camera is a little hard. In fact, I find myself, my screen flips down, and so I find myself sort of looking at myself rather than in here, because I don't know, because you're in here. And anyway, it's a struggle. So I'm trying to get over that, but bear with me. This is actually kind of nice that I'm driving, because I can kind of look away and get comfortable again before I come back. But the story behind this shoot is that I wanted to do this in sort of a controlled environment where there weren't going to be a lot of other people around. So I kind of wanted to stay away from the beach and national parks, places like that where there were going to be a lot of people, because I wanted to be able to interact with you, with the camera, and sort of see if this is going to work, if this is even a good idea. So I basically drew a circle around home and said, okay, anything within about 4 hours drive is what I'm interested in. And then honestly, I pulled up Google Satellite View and I just started dragging the map around, looking for empty spaces on the map where there wasn't any green national park or state park or some attraction that might bring a lot of people. I wanted something sort of interesting from a landscape perspective, but not something where there would be a big crowd. And in California, in the sort of greater Los Angeles area, it's a little difficult. You got to drive. So anyway, I'm dragging around and using Google's, you know, you've got the street view and the little photospheres. If you grab that little yellow guy down in the corner and you drag it up, you can hold it over places and it'll show you if there's a little blue dot, there's a photosphere there, and you can see the 360 degree. If you haven't tried that, you should do it. It's really kind of a neat way to explore places. And there are actually people who have hiked entire trails with a photosphere like in their backpack, and you can go on the trail, and so you can kind of see, and it's a great way to scope out locations for photos. And anyway, so that's what I did. I started dragging around and just looking for spots where there was either street view or where there was photospheres of interesting spots. And I saw this little spot in the desert that had some sort of shadows, and you could tell that there was some sort of element there, that it wasn't just rolling hills and sagebrush, that there was some sort of something sticking up. And there are these pinnacles out here in the desert, and they're called the Trona Pinnacles. They're, I don't know, 3.5 hours from Huntington Beach, which is a bit of a drive. It's 102 degrees out here, and my AC keeps giving up, and so I go through these periods of like profuse sweating and rolling down the windows and turning the AC off. I think the compressor is actually freezing up, and that's what's happening. And anyway, I digress. So we're dragging around the little yellow guy, and I find this spot, And I've never heard of it before. I've never seen any pictures of it. But the more sort of I look in the photospheres, the more I think, wow, maybe there's something we can do. Even if we do something astrophotography like tonight, maybe there's something we can do. So then I started Google searching for images, and of course then you find that a couple of people have been here before and taken some decent pictures. And so, it's not a lot. It's not a place I don't think that a lot of people come. It's a little out here, and there's not a whole lot. It's sort of on the way to some places, I guess, but it's in the middle of the desert, let's be honest. So I'm hoping, we're mid-July, it's a million degrees outside. Maybe we'll get lucky and no one will be there, and we'll just kind of have it to ourselves to experiment and have some fun, have some fun, and fly the drone a little bit, do a little B-roll, I don't know, have a little video fun, and hopefully get a good picture. It's supposed to be partly cloudy, so I'm hoping we'll have a little bit of some sort of drama in the sky to contrast these pinnacles against. With any luck, we'll get a sunset and it'll be magnificent, but at this point I kind of just hope I have it to myself. Morning. So last night I wasn't able to film anything because I was the only person here. Literally, car, camera, and me. And I'd been sitting here for, I don't know, I drove around for a couple of hours and then I came back to this spot and I had seen like one other person the entire time and they'd left. So I really had the place completely to myself. I thought, I've got this in the bag, like I'm gonna get the shot, I'm gonna get to have a conversation with you, and it's gonna be great. The light starts to come on, the sun sort of starts hitting the horizon there, and I'm just getting revved up, and I get the camera set up. I've actually got it mounted to the side of the Jeep. You can see the little mount right there. And I'm ready to have this conversation and to take the picture. And then from out of nowhere, this car just comes out of the distance. And I thought, okay, no way they're gonna just park, near me. There's so much to see here, and they had plenty of time. And wouldn't you know it, this guy literally pulls up next to me, like this is a parking lot. Like, there's parking as far as the eye can see, in every direction. And he parks literally as if we're in a parking lot in the next stall. Then he climbs out, sets down 2 cameras, and within 30 seconds, both cameras are just taking pictures. And he opens his mouth and just starts talking. And this guy talked for literally 45 minutes. I'm not sure he took a breath. At one point he came over and started touching my gear. I almost completely lost my shit. I did inside. But I've been doing yoga. And I tried to be calm. Man, it wasn't easy. I called Katya as soon as I was out of here and was just like, this guy. So for those of you out there who think that's okay, it's not okay. I'm at work. I'm at work. I don't come to your job and sit down next to you and just talk. Anyway, that's my rant for the morning. We're gonna take a picture. We're getting pinks in the sky. I don't know if you can see this. Right above me here. It's still dark. I have the exposure turned on this way up so that you can see me. But it's starting to turn pink. So, hoping that this pink lands back there so that this camera can catch something good. Talk about the settings that I've got for a second. I'm all set up. I'll show you my rig since I really haven't done that before. Nikon D810. I think this is a 28-300. It's a long lens, but the glass is all right. And then I use the Zacuto Z Finder. I really like this. It gives me a 3x zoom on the screen and I can really dial in and get my focus right. And then I can also check my images really quickly and make sure that my focus is good, because there's nothing worse than just a little bit off on that focus. That just kills me every time. So I'm shooting at f8 right now. I'm at a 13 second. It's probably going to be faster than that as the light comes up.
I'll tell you as we start to take the picture. No filters, no polarizer. Maybe after the sun comes up, I'll put on a polarizer because it really is, it's at 90 degrees to the picture and it would actually help once the light comes on. That's about it. I'm shooting full manual focus, so I'll usually set the focus with auto and then I'll zoom in with the Z finder and make sure it's tight, and if it's not, I'll switch it to manual and correct it. Usually manual is just that little like 5% soft, and I've tried to make adjustments to that in the camera, but with every lens it has to be different, and I just think it's easier to do it manually. I don't know, old school, I guess. Anyway, good morning. Hopefully it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited about, I mean, everything's turning pink. I'll flip this around and see if I can show a little bit. Okay, now you've got to be able to see just how it's painting up those clouds up there. Isn't that pretty? Oh, it's gorgeous. Just not doing it back here yet. I know this is dark, but it's the only way I could, yeah. Oh, we're getting a little bit. To crouch down, I have my tripod sort of set up low because it's been so windy. I've got it behind the Jeep just to try and shelter it a little bit. I think we might get it. Oh, this is the fun part. Oh, there's this cloud up here. See that? If this was exposed right, that's just crazy pink. I'm just gonna put this down. I'll come back after I've taken, 200 pictures as the light changes. Yeah. All right, so f11, 40th of a second, no filter. I'm shooting a 3-stop bracket. It's not a 3-stop bracket, a 3-shot bracket. They're two full stops apart, just to make sure I cover the whole range. And there it is. Oh, it just keeps getting better. I'm gonna have like a million pictures of this. But just the light, there's this warm light. It's just starting to hit the sides of the rocks back here, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. Oh. All right, I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy this for a second. I guess enjoy the picture, because here it is.
Okay, so I just finished a sort of video tirade, which is coming up, and if you don't want to hear it, just skip forward like 5 minutes, because I really go on about it. It's about that guy from last night, and seriously, I'm a little worked up, so feel free to skip this. Okay, so I want to talk about something serious, and it's serious, but I'm gonna try and make it funny, because if I don't make it funny, I think I'm gonna just sound like a dick. Since last night, I've been stewing over this guy who came and parked next to me. Like, something about that just at a deep level annoys me. And I want to be a good person, and I don't want to, treat another person poorly or be rude or mean. But this is the equivalent to taking the day off work so that you can go and see the opening of a film you've been waiting for, right? And you get to the theater early and you get your ticket, and the person behind the counter is like, "Oh, you're the only person who's bought a ticket." And you're like, "Yeah, I'm the only person in the theater." And you get your drink and your popcorn, and you go and sit down in your favorite seat. And they roll the opening credits, the lights come down, and you think, I have the theater to myself. It's me and all these empty seats. And then you see that light from the door, and you know, oh, somebody's coming. And you think, no way that person is going to come and sit next to me. There's a ton of seats in the theater. But no. They walk in, they walk over, they plop their ass down in the seat right next to you, and then they start talking about how excited they are about the movie. And have you seen the other ones? And are you a fan of the comic books? And all of a sudden, it's this! That's how I felt. That's how I still feel. That guy went on with his happy life, oblivious to the fact that I was just raging inside. I don't think I'll ever understand why he came over. Maybe he's just lonely. Maybe he's just a lonely old guy who doesn't have anybody to talk to. Maybe he hates his wife and he takes these trips to get away from her and it's the only joy he gets and he just doesn't want to be alone. Maybe he's that guy and I don't want to be a jerk to that guy, but I'm also working. I'm trying to get a shot. I'm trying to focus on shutter speeds and whether or not I'm in focus and is my frame right and what's the light doing and should I be bracketing and should I put a neutral density filter on? Like all those things that in that moment of making that art, in that moment of executing that mechanical process, I don't want to be disturbed. I want to have that moment. Not to mention, this is a gorgeous sunset in nature that even if I wasn't taking a picture, I just want to sit there quietly and enjoy it. I wouldn't want somebody to just come park next to me and start yapping. You know? So coming back to, how do you handle that? How do you say, excuse me, I'm working here, without sounding like, excuse me, you big jerk. Why in the world would you come and park right next to me and start talking? Like, because I feel like any way I say it, it's gonna come out like that. Like, does he not realize it? Does the other places he go, do people walk up to him and interrupt his process? Does he care? I mean, I guess, but from the way he was shooting, I should assume he probably doesn't care. Because it was willy-nilly. I mean, he pulled up and in 30 seconds he was shooting frames in all directions with 2 different cameras. Which of course he had to tell me what they were and what lenses were on them and ask all sorts of questions, you know, about what do I use to edit, and you know, those people, if you're a photographer and you go out in the field, you know those people. You know those people who walk up next to you and they just want to talk gear. They're the ones who spend their lives reading DP review and just want to chat about what they bought. And I don't want to do that. I don't care about that stuff. I'm here for the picture, right? I don't know. This is a rant. Maybe I shouldn't even. No, I'm going to include it because if this is you, okay, if this is you, I don't know you, you didn't come to my picture, but I'm going to say this to you anyway. If you roll up on a place and there's one dude having his moment with the scene, don't park next to him. Don't set up his shot. There was 100 shots within 100 feet of where I was. He could have parked 20 feet away, set up quietly, taken his shots, maybe given me a nod, tipped his hat, smiled, even said hello, and it would have been fine. So if that's you, and I don't re-engage you, I don't ask you a question, if I'm standing, if you come over and start talking, and I continue with my process, the right thing to do is to go, it's a gorgeous evening, best of luck with your shot, and go back to your stuff. Go back to your shot. If I engage you and you want to talk and I want to talk, okay, let's talk. But if someone's giving you those nonverbal cues, like making less eye contact, and I know I'm not good at eye contact, so let's take me out of this, but maybe just pay a little more attention, you know? And honestly, don't roll up and stand next to somebody in the shot. I mean, look, there are places in the world, I know, where there's really one best place to take a shot. And we've all been there, and you know, there's one good angle, and everybody kind of clusters together. But I feel like in a lot of times in those situations, everybody's just kind of trying to do their thing. You always have one or two of these guys, though, who just want to talk loudly about whatever gear they bought. Don't be that guy. Like, seriously, don't be that guy. Nobody likes that. You realize that all the other photographers, all the other people standing around there are looking at each other like, I wish that guy would just shut up. We don't say it because we're trying not to be jerks. Is that too much? Felt like that was too much. Anyway, I'm sorry you had to hear that. Hopefully you skipped it if it wasn't something you needed to hear. If you did need to hear it, maybe in the future you'll be, more courteous. If you didn't need to hear it, hopefully you thought it was funny or can relate in some way. If you're new to photography, welcome to this, because this is how it is. All right, so it's been a couple of days since I got back from the desert. I've managed to cobble this into, well, whatever you just watched. It's super long and I apologize for that. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna break this into 2 parts, and in part 2, I will walk you through my photo editing process of the raw files that we got from the desert. And we'll kind of talk about that in more depth. Until then, here's the shot I took in the evening while Mr. Chatty Pants was telling me about all his stuff. And let me know which one you like better, the morning or the evening. Honestly, I'm not sure. I kind of like them both for different reasons. I'm a little partial to the morning, but everybody I talk to has a different answer. So leave me a comment. I know there's only 6 of you subscribers, so if you stumble upon this and would like to do this again, subscribe or unsubscribe if this was just terrible and you never want to see me again. That's fine too. Anyway, I'll see you for part 2 where we'll do the photo editing. Until then, here's the evening shot, and see you next time.